Hi, third graders. Today in reading, we're going to be talking about influence. Do you know what that word means, influence? I'll give you a little hint. So one day, it was a Friday afternoon. I was feeling tired. It was the end of the week, and my plan was to go home, get scout, go home, order some pizza, and watch a movie, and lay on my couch and be done with the week. And then I ran into a friend, and she had on like her exercise clothes, and she was about to go running in the park. And she goes, "Lindsay, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Well," and she goes, "Why don't you go home, change your clothes, and come running with me?" And I did. And I have to say about that friend, she is a good influence, right? An influence, is, um, like when something has an influence on you, it actually changes the way you might think or act. Scout, quiet. Goodness gracious. And so the same is true for our characters. They have influences that can affect how they act, how they think, what they do. Um, and that influence might be a good influence, and it might be a negative influence too. It could go both ways. Um, and so I want to name what might influence a character. So let's break it down. First, there's the setting. That means that's a place, right? A time and place where the story is at the moment. So, where your character is might have an impact on how they act and what they do. I'm thinking like you're spending a lot of time at home, and I wonder, do you react and do things at home like you would in our classroom, or is it a little different? So do you see that? Like where you are might affect you. I'm just thinking like I'm at home right now, and so oh my gosh, I just want to snack all day or something. I don't know. Like that where you are has an influence on you. Um, excuse me. Second, other characters might have an influence on the character, like I was saying about my friend. So people in your life, people in the character's life might be an influence. And then lastly, the problems you face might influence a character or influence you, the problem. So setting, problem, and other characters. So let's try that for a second. And I'm going to try with Ravi. So I'm going to think, are are there well, let's think of the settings. What are the settings in Ravi's life? Home and school. Well, when Ravi is at home, he's almost like he's such a good I don't know, seems like a rule follower, and he wants his parents to know like that school's going just fine. He's not giving any sort of clues that things aren't going so well. He's a good student, he's a good son, he's always doing the right thing. And then at school, I just noticed, have you noticed how he has nicknames for people that aren't so nice? Like Mop Top or Bigfoot, all these nicknames he has for people, they just aren't very nice, are they? And so that sort of tells me that depending on where Ravi is, he kind of acts a little different. Do you see how that's an influence? Um, so I actually want you to take this one, problems. So in your mind right now, start thinking about the problems that Ravi is facing. Maybe name them out right now across your fingers. Yeah, he doesn't want to be going to Miss Frost. He thinks that people think he's not smart at this new school. He's feeling really insecure. And so now you want to think, how is that influencing him? Does that make him act differently? Does it make him think differently? Yeah, can you name how if you haven't? Try to name how. So Right now, the problem is Ravi is he is perceived as not being very smart, or he thinks that. Um, and he's reacting not very nice. He's being very impatient. He actually, remember he was so mean to Joe, and he said, "Well, I don't need to be here, Miss Frost. I'm not like him." And he was just being so mean and so rude. And do you think that's because of the problems he's facing? Yeah, this work is very complicated, isn't it? You have to think of so many things. You have to think of the characters. You have to think about um, all the things in their life that could influence them. And I'll show you this again: where they are, which is the setting, other characters in their life, and the problem. And so today, in your work, in your own book, you'll be reading, and I want you to think, what are the things in your character's life that seem to influence them? Is it more of where they are, the setting? Is it more other characters? Or is it the problems that they're facing? Like we were just talking last week about Opal and how when that time she acted out of character because the Dewberry Boys were so mean to her, it's because that problem had an influence on her. Right, this is very similar work to what we did. So today in your book, thinking about those three things: where is your character? What problems are your characters facing? And who are the people in their life that might influence what they do and how they act? And I would love for you to share your thoughts on Google Classroom with me. Okay. Happy reading, everyone.